What's going on, YouTube? So today I'm gonna be doing a 2,000 mile review on this 2020 Boom Vader, or it might be 2021, I'm not too sure. I forgot the year, but it's a Boom Vader Honda Grom clone. And I just want to talk about like what kind of problems I had since then, which if I'm being honest, I've never really had a problem since maybe like the 500 mile. Let me just start talking about what I've done. So what I've done since the last video was I re-tightened the chain, because if you guys didn't know, the chains on these small bikes, these little 125 cc's, they tend to wear out pretty fast. Or even on the Honda Groms, they stretch out really fast. And I did a chain replacement for one of my friends that has the same body style like this, but the actual Honda Grom, and I switched out his at about 1,000 miles, I think, and it was stretched out to the point where I could pull off the chain from the sprocket, from the rear sprocket. Even after tightening up the chain, you can still pull the chain off the back sprocket, which is not good. That means it's way too loose. So that's what I did on this one. That's the only problem I've had since the last video at 1,500 miles. And right now I'm currently at 1993. So I'm probably gonna hit 2,000 miles on this video. And like, I guess I could talk about like what my expectations was when I first got this bike. Because, you know, there's videos out there where they just don't last, and I don't know if it's just because it's user error or they just don't take care of it, or whatever the maintenance, they don't know how to take care of the maintenance. I don't know. But like, the engine on this, it's still pretty strong. It just feels like, it feels the same way when I first got it, but with more power now, because you know, I upgraded the carburetor and everything, which allows me to get up to, so with this setup, it allows me to get up to 65. I even took it on the freeway. Obviously I stayed on the slow lane on the freeway. I couldn't do any overtakes or anything, but it was keeping up with traffic, which was really surprising for a small bike, for a small 125cc. And with just little modifications to this, you can really make it really reliable. Let me find a parking lot so I can show you the mods that I've done if you didn't watch my last video. And if you're new watching this video, I can show you all the mods that I've done to it. I'll talk about that and the benefits that it's done for me. Oh, and these mirrors are stock mirrors, by the way, and they work pretty good. Like, I could see what I need to see behind me. Like, my arm is not really in the way of anything, which in a lot of sport bikes, the mirrors aren't the best. So yeah, this does the job. I'll do a little 0 to 60, I guess. I ran out of room, but that was 51. Problem keeping up with traffic. So I have other bikes that I ride, but with being used to like the bigger bikes, I prefer being on the smaller bike. I have a lot more fun. I'm not saying like I don't have fun on the bigger bikes, but this is just one of those bikes where you can just cruise and feel like you're going fast, but you're not really going fast. Even though it's capable of doing 60 miles, it's very forgiving, which is what I like about riding this bike. I want to talk about like, if you're skeptical of buying this particular Grom clone, I can tell you that yes, I was skeptical too. I was skeptical. I wasn't really having a high expectation for it because, you know, it's a Chinese bike. And honestly, I paid $1,200 and that was shipped to my door at $1,200. And like at first, yeah, it wasn't the best. It wasn't the best feeling riding it. Like it didn't have enough power. It didn't really compare to the real Honda Grom clone. The same body style as this one. It didn't compare. Like, if anything, this was underpowered compared to the real one. Stock for stock, like stock versus stock, this one was underpowered. But with just like some couple minor cheap mods, you can make it just as fast, if not faster, than the real thing. I guess that's like the plus of having a carbureted bike, because you could honestly just change out the carburetor to a bigger one and it equals more power. Let me get off the bike and I'll show you a little walk around. So this is what it looks like. It came with the gold forks, so that was a plus, because most of them really they come with like black forks. I'm not really too sure on that one, but this was like their special edition, and I got it at Red Fox Motorsports, I believe. And honestly, like, this is probably the best colorway. So this is what it looks like from the side. This is what it looks like from the front. The other side, I still haven't made a video because about the airbox, how because when you change out the carburetor to the VM22, which is that one right there, when you change it out, it comes with this big filter pod, and honestly, it didn't sound the best with that filter pod, because it just sounds like it's a very loud sound. Like, it doesn't really suppress the sound of the bike. So what I did was I actually kept the old airbox, the stock one, and let me see if I can show you. I cut out this and I pretty much angled it in a way to where it's two pieces, but I was able to angle it in a way where I could fit it on the side of this inside the fairing, so it doesn't fall off. So that's what I did with that, because if you guys know what it sounds like with the big filter, it's hella loud and it doesn't sound good. I mean, that's just my preference. I don't like the whole loud filter and everything, but this is what it sounds like. I'll give you guys a review. And this right here was about, I think it was like $80. It comes with actually no, the pipe, not the slip-on, but the pipe was actually like 80 bucks. Well, that one was like $20. So it's $100 exhaust, which is probably the most expensive thing on this bike when it comes to aftermarket. The VM22 carb was about $30–40 on Amazon, and I bought shorty levers, adjustable ones, and I also got different grips for it. And I also have a new, or it's not new, but all this stuff right here that you see that I'm showing you was on the last video also. So I haven't really done anything to it, because honestly I like the way it performs already, and I don't plan on doing anything else to it other than making long-term review videos. So that one right there is the shifter, and a benefit of this is that it doesn't give you that false neutral. When I'm talking about a false neutral is like when you shift down into gear, and let me actually turn this off. So when you shift down into gear and there's no number that shows up, let's say for example that 2 wasn't there, but it did click down, eventually while you're riding it'll go into neutral, but that's because it doesn't show any gear. So make sure when you do downshift, make sure that there's a number there, so you won't have like a panic attack when you downshift and then it just suddenly goes into neutral. Like you're in gear and you're going, but then it suddenly goes into neutral. But that's because that's the problem with that. That's because it doesn't show the gear number on there. But this got rid of it. not completely, but it does a lot better of going into gear and giving me I'd say it 95% of the time is good. The other 5% is when it does give me a false neutral, but that's because I didn't click hard enough or click down or up enough to change gears. So that's a plus on that. The next one is this. It's a throttle tube which came with the throttle cable, and the benefit of this was that if you kept the stock cable and you change out the carburetor, you'll get either a short cable or a long cable, I don't remember, but with this it fits the same like size that I needed, which got rid of a lot of the play on the throttle. And then, like, one problem if you do come across when you change out your carburetor is that, let's say for example, you twist the throttle all the way, you're going full throttle, and then the throttle, when it's time to slow down, when it's time to decelerate, it doesn't want to decelerate, and you're just going at false speed or full speed, and you try to engage the clutch, you pull it in, but all it's doing is just revving. That's because your carburetor is stuck in a position where it's just open. I don't know, I could show you that in another video, but there's like a pin that goes inside which allows, it's hard to explain, but let's say for example that pin, and then you open it, it opens up, right? When you open the throttle, it opens up, and then it gets stuck there. It's because there's these tracks on that little cylinder tube inside that carburetor, and it's stuck in an open position, which doesn't allow it to go back down. And a solution to that is either play with the cap, the top of the carburetor cap, and play with it too, and then just keep twisting this. You should have this, like, it should snap back in place. And if for some reason you roll it and it doesn't snap back in place, that means that pin I'm talking about, or that cylinder, it's stuck. So now you have a really loose cable, or now you have a really loose throttle, and it's just gonna rev up like crazy, and you don't want that. So with this pretty much eliminated all the high revving. I don't know what I would even call it, but it doesn't get stuck in wide open throttle anymore. But I fixed all this, or I switched out everything at, like, I want to say 1,000 miles, if not earlier than that. I think maybe a little bit after 500 miles. But the major issue that I've had, and thank goodness it was like really early on into the life of the engine, was that these bolts, the engine bolts, the stock ones were so weak that I didn't even notice, but one of them had snapped off, and the only thing that was holding it was the one here. This one, there's this one, and there's another one down here. So there's two bolts. So I just went to Lowe's and got me a higher grade bolt. It's the same size. I didn't do the whole, like, make the holes bigger and then put a bigger size bolt. I didn't do all that. I just grabbed a higher grade bolt, same size, less work, less modification, and it was just pretty much just plug and play almost. And when I changed that out, it got rid of the vibrations on the bike. So now when I'm riding, it doesn't vibrate as much anymore. If anything, it was like a brand new bike when they changed out those engine bolts. So that's a must when you get one of these bikes. And let's see, I changed out, I added turn signals, left and right side. And then here's the back. And then I also have my hazard turn lights. That's what it looks like. And probably one of the best things I added on was this charger slash battery voltmeter, or it's not a voltmeter, but it tells me the battery voltage when I'm riding. So that way it tells me if the alternator is going bad, or not the alternator, but you know what I mean, the stator is going bad, the charging system is going bad, stuff like that. And it charges my phone, so that's probably the biggest plus. Here, I'll show you how it works. So for example, you see how it's reading at like 14 volts? That means my charging system is doing really good. And now let's go for another ride and hit this 2000 mark, and I'll end off the video on that. Oh man, for such a small bike, it has a pretty good amount of torque, which is what I like about it. And of course, like when you do have a smaller bike, you can do stuff like this. What the heck? Damn, that is a beautiful sunset. I know you guys won't even really see it on camera, but man, that really is beautiful. And this is why I prefer the smaller bike now, after riding all these other big ones. It's just one of those things where you just don't really get bored of. Yeah, like if you're looking for power, yes, then you go with a bigger bike, but at the same time, you won't really have as much fun as you would on a smaller bike. Let me show you guys a little twisty road to see how nimble these bikes can be. Hey! And there's a 2,000 mile right there. We just hit 2,000 miles on this. behind me. And that's what I mean by false neutral right there. I actually did that on purpose for you guys. So it happens when you downshift. Alright, let's get this. Cars slow me down, but it's okay. I'm gonna go down and then I'll end off the video right there. Thank you. Let's go down. I'll show you how nimble it is. And it pops too. Like, come on now. Oh man. And that is my 2,000 mile review of this Vader Honda Grom clone. Whatever you want to call it, there's different names for it, but this is my review of the Vader. I just want to end it off by saying thank you for subscribing. I would have never imagined to have over 100 subscribers, but I'm at 200. I just do this for fun. I don't do it for the fame. I do it for just the enjoyment of owning a motorcycle. I like these little projects that I do, and I have fun doing it while making those videos. So thank you again, thank you for watching, and you guys will see me on the next one.